But first of all, we have something a bit special for our Meet the Team section this week. You might have seen the well-known show on TV before called The IT Crowd. Well, we wanted to bring on one of the stars of the show to talk to us about what life working in IT is all about. But then we thought, actually, why interview someone who was only acting a role when we've got the real thing instead? So that's why this week, instead of Chris O'Dowd or Richard Iowati, we have the one and only Collyn Kenny on the show instead. You're very welcome, Collyn.
Thanks very much, Jude.
I hope you enjoyed that introduction.
Pretty much, yeah. Most sentences out of my mouth is, have you tried turning it on and off again? And I think that is the same for anyone who works in IT support, because you'd be surprised the amount of fixes that will do.
Yeah. And don't think that wasn't going to come into the questions anyway. So tell us a bit, Collyn, about where you're based and just how long you've been with NCBI.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably been here just over 20 years now, so it's a long time, but I'm still lucky enough to sort of really enjoy my job, so it doesn't feel like it's been a life sentence or anything, and I'm still looking forward to the next 20. So
yeah.
Quite happy what I do. I mean, originally I started a long time ago just to cover someone who had left the organization, and it was like a rolling 3-month contract for the course of a year, and then that turned into full-time, and sort of my role has changed over the years. Initially it was just like tech support just for internal staff. That's now grown to tech support for internal staff, service users, now growing into sort of the purchasing of all assistive technology products, the shipping of it. Pretty much fingers in a lot of pies in here, so I'm kept quite busy. But as I say, I do enjoy it.
So what you're saying is that the IT Crowd wasn't actually a documentary; it wasn't a real life take on what's happening.
If you'd ever seen my office, or when I wasn't in a basement, I was out in a shed, you go, yeah, I can see where these guys have got it from. I tend to
Did you consult on that by any chance?
I think someone must have sent in a picture at one stage, because we were like, what does an IT office look like? And you have to have half-opened PCs, boxes everywhere, and probably not really a visible floor. But it is organized chaos. I know where everything is. It's normally on the floor.
That's a great answer to that. Do you know where everything? I know where everything is. It's on the floor.
Yeah, if I can't put my hand on it, it wasn't important.
Brilliant. So tell me something. Was this always something that you were kind of very interested in anyway? It sounds like, obviously, you said you still enjoy the job, but is that your background anyway? Before you joined NCBI, was it all technology and things?
It was. I mean, I went off to college with the full intention of becoming an accountant. And within the first year of an accountancy course, I realized, no, this is not for me. Now, that's nothing against accountants. It's just during that course, we got a sort of a bit more into the technology side of accounts, and I sort of tended to sort of be helping a lot of the people in that class on their technology issues, and that's when I sort of decided, actually, it's more the tech and being able to sort of help people along with that I wanted to get into. So left college for a while and went back and did a PLC course in technology and support. And from there, I went on to, I don't know if anyone remembers, it was a computer company called Gateway. Then it was Gateway 2000. But spent about a year and a half in there doing tech support for home users. And that was really interesting. I mean, it's a good foundation for anyone doing technologies to be on the phone to any client trying to fix the problems. But Gateway had this brilliant idea of, it's almost like a party line where you would stick 6 home users with the same problem into a chat with one tech, and he would try and sort out the problems in a queue.
That sounds like another potential comedy in the making, surely.
Horror, maybe horror comedy. Yeah, it was quite intense. I remember, like, as techs, you would go on to that sort of call type environment for an hour, and you would be given half an hour off to cool down.
Yeah, I can imagine. And tell me something, do you find overall, like the whole element of trying to support somebody from afar over the phone or over the internet, maybe a Teams call or something like that, how challenging is that?
It is quite challenging, even before the likes of a TeamViewer where we can remote into it. I would say, yeah, it's knowing the product well, so you can visualize what the user is doing, and then being able to sort of describe what you want them to do. With the sort of the introduction of remote support with TeamViewer for us, it was really a game changer where we could sort of, yeah, just log onto your machine. We'd do it for you, but it's not really doing it for you. I like to sort of let the users try and do it, so they're sort of getting used to it. But I can see what they're doing. I'm not trying to visualize it in my head. I think within about 7 months of getting that in, I almost lost the ability to visualize stuff in my head of what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I still try to force myself to be up on all the products so I know what it should look like.
Yeah. Because that can be quite a challenge. I suppose there's other barriers if you can't see what's actually happening on the screen or on somebody's computer. They might be, even if it's actually the same issue for them in that they can't see what's happening on the screen, they know what they've maybe just done, or they might be more familiar with their system. But trying to pick up on that through how somebody describes it over the phone can be maybe a little bit more difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I suppose one of the other roles I was in was like a localization engineer for Microsoft, where we were testing Windows 2000 at the time. So that's how long ago that was. But I was the Swedish language lead. I can't speak Swedish, but we had to test the product in Swedish. So it's sort of just you roughly know where the buttons are, you get to sort of used to it. That sort of helped going forward. I think being able to sort of just go, right, I know what we need to do on how we need to get there. I just mightn't be able to describe exactly what's there.
Yeah, man, that must have been a pretty challenging role to be in.
That was a very good one, I thought. Yeah.
Is there anything particular you're kind of working on now? Any big projects in sight? Or there might be things, of course, that aren't overly interesting for people to hear about, but anything much going on at the moment happening?
Oh, there's always stuff happening. IT, Jude, as you know. There's big projects. I mean, we tend to sort of, a lot of the internal projects for staff that sort of in the background tend to be sort of bigger projects that we work on. So I mean, last year was like a digital transformation rollout, which we timed, I don't know if we knew COVID was coming, but we had shifted a lot of people over to laptops and they were able to work from home quite easily. This year we're looking at, I mean, our whole core system where we record information around service users, we're looking at sort of tagging new stuff onto it, changing the models, just to be allowing us to be able to sort of record more efficiently what we're doing with service users, and also just to be able to reach out to them in a more timely manner as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So there's loads going on behind the scenes. So there's clearly plenty that's involved in the role that you're in at the moment. But just to finish off on this and maybe kind of go a bit full circle here, if there was one piece of tech advice that you were to give to people when they experience a problem, what would it be?
Well, we've already said it. Come on, like if you haven't turned it on and turned it off again, it's normally going to be someone's first question. Like, yeah.
Good stuff. So on that note, thank you very much for joining us, Colin.
No problem.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
a lot, Jude.
Hopefully we'll have you on again at some point in the future.
All right.